What's up, guys? We've all had growing frustrations over the failed negotiations for the Mayweather and Pacquiao fight. I guess the question is, who or what will serve as the catalyst for the revival of the sport? And my answer is simple. Since the heavyweight division has eroded with a whole bunch of fat people, uh, I think a tournament in the junior welterweight 140-pound weight class is the answer. Let me read off some names. 10 boxers, 10 guys who I think would make the tournament. Tim Bradley, Devon Alexander, Amir Khan, Zab Judah, Maidana, Lamont Peterson, Ricky Hatton, Marquez, Juan Diaz, and Ortiz. 10 dudes, 10 good boxers. And I've been taught people. I'm not the first one to come up with this idea. People have been expressing this idea of having a junior welterweight tournament in response to Showtime's super middleweight Super Six tournament. I think it's a good. I think the tournament is a good idea that Showtime's doing. Sometimes Showtime has some very shitty fighters on there, but what they're cleaning up. I mean, they get really good ratings. It's been really entertaining to watch. Us boxing fans have something to talk about. Great talent in that division. Well, I wouldn't say great talent, but a couple guys in there. But I think it would be even more entertaining, even more dramatic if you had a tournament like this in the 140 weight class. A couple months ago, if you would have asked me who do I think is the best within that division, I would have said Devon Alexander. And then I would have said Tim Bradley. And then I would have said Amir Khan. To me, if there was going to be a tournament, it would be like, okay, it's going to come down to who's better between Bradley and Devon Alexander. But in these past few months, man, I've found out more about Alexander. I've found out more about Bradley, and it's because of these guys' flaws. It's gonna make the tournament even more interesting because out of these 10 guys, I know some guys who will be eliminated, but I can't tell you who's gonna emerge. At least not so far. I can't tell you who's gonna emerge to the top because there's so many questions to be answered about the top three, the top three in the division. Tim Bradley, he man, he's probably gonna be. It's probably gonna be the hardest. He's gonna be the hardest opponent to beat by far. Aggressive style, fast, a lot of heart. Man, he does have some good fundamentals. He does have a good skill set, but he at the same time there's a lot of things that he does really stupid. He swings wildly, doesn't know where he's aiming, gets himself off balance, makes poor choices in terms of fighting style. Like he'll try to outbox people who he should be getting on the inside with, and he tries to outbrawl people when he should be trying to using his outboxing skills, which he does have some boxing skills. Devon Alexander, man, I thought he was gonna be the next somebody. I thought he was special, but so much more work to do. I saw his last fight. Man, he's just fights in a very predictable pattern. He's susceptible to jabs. He can't make adjustments. I mean, he cannot make adjustments. It leads me to believe that somebody like Marquez would knock him out. Anyway, yeah, Devon Alexander has a lot of work to do. Doesn't go to the body at all. Defense is very mediocre. Right now, he's just getting away with athleticism. And once he starts to fight more highly skilled fighters, he's going to get dropped. Amir Khan, based off of what I've seen from the Paulie Malignaggi fight, impressed me the most. But then again, that was against Paulie. Uh, One thing is, his people will generally say that his weakness is that he doesn't he has a weak chin because he got his ass knocked out in that one fight against what's his face? I can't even think of his name. But one thing that he's gotten better at, which from what I've seen in his last fight, was that he keeps his hands up. He's learned a discipline to protect himself. So if you have a weak chin, that's a good thing to do. Zab Judah, probably the fastest in the division, has really, really good power in the division too. But he fades. He does not have heart, and his defense is bad too. His flaws will make the tournament even more interesting because there's people who will put his ass to sleep. Maidana, great punching power. Always gotta love a Hispanic who's willing to brawl. He's gonna make the tournament interesting. Peterson, the Bradley fight, him and Peterson, man, I watched it. He just doesn't have enough. Can't even explain it. Just doesn't have enough. I don't know, maybe will to win. I thought at certain times he actually did pretty well. He just doesn't quite have it. But I do like the way he goes about it, and he can hurt people. He definitely deserves to be in the tournament. There's definitely people who he can beat in this tournament. Hatton, man, I like Ricky Hatton. It's interesting because if this was like 3 years ago, I would probably pick him to win a tournament like this, or at least be in the top, in the finals or semifinals. But he's been so mentally damaged from his 2 knockout losses against Mayweather, against Pacquiao. The dude suffers from depression. Anytime you weigh 140 and then 2 weeks later you weigh 190, it's like, come on now, that's just ridiculous. Fat ass eating crumpets and tea and shit. Well, I still think if he's still hungry for it, if he's still motivated, I think he can go far in this tournament. There's a lot of people I can see him putting pressure on. Somebody like an Amir Khan, somebody like a Judah, put pressure on him, go to the body, break the will. I think Hatton's capable of doing that. Marquez he's probably my favorite fighter in this weight class. Much like Mayweather, he is a counterpuncher, makes in-fight adjustments, takes a little bit longer to do it, kind of like a Bernard Hopkins. Very crafty, very smart. It will be interesting to see him against the younger guys like Bradley and Alexander and stuff like that, if this tournament would have theoretically happened. But I think I would hop on that horse, Marquez, see what he's made of. He would make it interesting. Juan Diaz, get his ass knocked out by somebody. I just figure I'd throw him in there, so he can be eliminated in the first round, move on to the next stage in the tournament. Victor Ortiz, good-looking young prospect, beat Nate Campbell. Obviously, Nate Campbell's washed up, so that doesn't really mean too much. But at the same time, Nate Campbell's still a good veteran fighter. If you beat him, that does establish that you are better than average. I think Ortiz would do well in this tournament as well. But I feel like the reason there can't just be all these big names in the tournament. I want to see somebody emerge as clearly the best in this tournament, because whoever does, depending on their size, maybe not like a Marquez, but all these guys are full-fledged junior welterweights, unless it's Judah, because Judah's already gotten knocked out. But anyway, I was gonna say the winner of this tournament, whoever emerged on top, would go to welterweight and ultimately have a potential match with Pacquiao or Mosley or Mayweather. It'd be very interesting. Boxing fans, tell me your thoughts. Comments below. Like this video, favorite it. Do whatever the fuck you want to do with it. I'm out. Joe Clem 15.